It appears that former Trump donor and associate of Rudy Giuliani has provided evidence in the form of photos, video, and audio recordings, as well as documents to the House Intelligence Committee on Ukraine. Now, remember Parnas and his friend Igor Fruman. Uh, I don't know why I say it like that. I can't help myself. Anyway, so they were arrested on campaign finance charges while they were trying to leave the country, and they were pro-Trump, very very pro-Trump, especially Parnas, who had given to Donald Trump's re-election campaign. In fact, his election campaign in 2016. In fact, the reason that he was arrested for campaign finance violations is that he created a shell company in order to donate over $300,000 to the president's campaign. Oops. And so, look, the guy was believed in Donald Trump. He said, "Look, it's the first time that I got involved in politics, and started donating. I really believe in what President Trump's trying to do." Fast forward now, or to now, and here you have Parnas basically spilling the tea. So this is fun, right? And of course, this all involves the pressure campaign to try to get the Ukrainian president to give a public announcement. Very important. It's a public announcement that Ukraine would be doing an investigation into Joe Biden and CrowdStrike. And so now, ABC News reported on Sunday that Parnas had submitted these materials to the committee in response to a congressional subpoena that was issued for his testimony. So now, originally, Parnas was not going to testify or to answer that subpoena and give over these materials. And I said testify. I actually said answer the congressional subpoenas. That's what I meant to say. We're not sure if he'll testify, but his lawyer says that he would be willing. And so that's also really important. So now, ABC News said some of the audio, video, and photos included both Giuliani and Donald Trump with Parnas, as you can see. All right. Okay. So now, originally, like I mentioned, Parnas wasn't going to play ball with this. However, he changed his tune after Donald Trump had publicly distanced himself. Oh, that guy, I hardly know him. Hardly knew him. Barely even. I don't even remember him. Again, you've got pictures together, so it's kind of awkward. Now, not only did Parnas, of course, give over some goods on Trump and Giuliani, which could be troublesome down the line, but also there was a certain Republican congressman that happened to have also been implicated in this, and that would be Devin Nunes. On Friday, Parnas' attorney, Joseph Bondi, had told CNN that his client was prepared to tell Congress about how Representative Devin Nunes, or Nunes, or whatever you want to call it, or him, the ranking GOP member of the House Intelligence Committee, had allegedly met with former Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin in a bid to, of course, dig up dirt on Joe Biden. Now, I find this amazing, right? Why go through so much effort, expend so much time and energy, and do criminal things to dig up dirt on Biden when everything Joe Biden does automatically disqualifies him? It shows him as a terrible candidate every time he opens his mouth. I mean, come on, just I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, no, they expended so much time and effort to try to get dirt on Joe Biden. Now, Shokin, like I said, was a former Ukrainian prosecutor. And I'm pretty sure he agreed to dig up dirt on the Bidens because, well, Biden's kind of the reason that he lost his job. Now, Shokin had suggested that he was ousted under pressure from Vice President Joe Biden, which is partly true, actually, because he was investigating a company where Hunter Biden was a director at. That would be, of course, Burisma. Now, in reality, yes, Biden was on the board. Yes, that's a conflict of interest. Yes, that is corruption. And that's a huge, huge problem for Joe Biden, right? And let's be honest about that. Now, of course, Trump can't really say the whole nepotism thing because right now he's got Jared and Ivanka literally in the White House. So can't really, throw stones if you live in a glass house, um, or in this case, the biggest, best glass house ever, the most transparent. You know what? He actually did say that about his administration. But okay, anyway. So now, Shokin in reality was ousted because he wasn't actually doing this job. He was not pursuing corruption among his country's politicians. Now, it is kind of a strange thing that you have an international coalition that is pressuring Ukraine to get rid of prosecutors for not going after corruption. It is kind of strange to have all this outside influence, but the reason, of course, is look, it's about natural gas. It's also about Russia, obviously, and the West versus the Russians and all that stuff, right? And again, that pipeline is huge business, and so yes, you look at that, and you're going to see this outside influence not only from the EU, but of course from Vice President Biden at the time, saying, "Hey, man, look, you're supposed to investigate corruption. Well, you're not doing so. So here we go. We're gonna kind of swoop in and do some outside interference." Fair enough, right? You want to point that out. All right. Now, again, this is according to Ukrainian officials and former American officials who specialized in Ukraine and Europe. You also had anti-corruption groups who had a problem with Shokin, and according to Daria Kalanaik, wow, did I just slaughter that name? Without remorse. No. She said that without pressure from Joe Biden, European diplomats, and the International Monetary Fund, and other international organizations, pointing out how, of course, the world kind of gets together to meddle in Ukraine because of gas and oil interests, of course, um, getting together and going after Shokin. Now, Shokin, without that pressure, she said, would not have been fired. And look, whether you trust the EU and the IMF, since they are, again, they're a little bit establishment. We know that, especially the IMF. And they're okay with certain levels of institutional corruption, like I said, meddling in other countries when it involves European and Russian gas and oil interests, right? But, and not only that, but neoliberal policies and money in politics, etc. But look, I think this was a case of personal corruption. That's what it is. And they at least tend to go after that. This guy, Shokin, didn't. He was personally corrupt, and so he was fired from outside pressure. And so he's a little salty about that. And I guess you can understand that. And look, for those who are angry about obviously international interference, I get it. But at least it's not the kind of interference that involves bombs or the CIA, which, again, if you look at Bolivia or anywhere else where the United States definitely has outside interference, well, this actually turned out a little bit better. But okay. Uh, Now back to Nunes, right? So now Parnas had also helped Nunes set up meetings via Skype and over the phone with two other Ukrainian prosecutors who, quote, claimed to have evidence that could help Trump's reelection campaign. Now that is really important because if it's phrased in that way, a Ukrainian official comes up to an American official and says, "Hey, man, I got information that could help Donald Trump get reelected." Odds are you shouldn't listen to him. And look, Trump himself during an interview said, "Well, why wouldn't I listen to him? Because if you do, that's a campaign violation. That is soliciting help from a foreign government. You can't do that. Turns out kind of illegal. So you shouldn't do that." And look, Devin Nunes. Devin Nunes knows that. I mean, he has to because he had scrapped a trip to Ukraine after realizing that he, this according to HuffPost, would need to alert Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff of his plans. Oh, shoot, I need to tell Adam Schiff where I'm going? Oh, no. Oh, no. So there's that. Okay. That, of course, would have put him in, and his cows, or cow, in the crosshairs of this entire investigation. He didn't want that, but now that Parnas is spilling the tea on him, well, we know enough to actually start questioning Nunes himself, which has Nunes in a fury. Now he's threatening to sue not only CNN, but the Daily Beast, along with, of course, that fictional cow. He apparently wants to be the face of tort reform because all he does is threaten to sue people. You know that guy, right? No, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to sue you. We all know that guy, right? And so all it is, if he actually goes through with some of these lawsuits, it's just a gigantic drain on the judicial system. And absolutely, just for no reason. It's just ridiculous, right? Again, with the suing of the fake cow. Come on, man. Really? Okay. But here's the thing. No frivolous lawsuits are going to help stop investigators from looking into the people who are involved in this. And that actually might include Nunes, thanks to Parnas and his documents. And hopefully soon his testimony. Now, here's the thing. I'm starting to realize that one of the reasons Donald Trump's defenses on Ukraine are starting to break down. It is actually one of the reasons that it was pretty successful to begin with. Everybody's in on it. And that's the reason, right? Everyone has dirt on everyone else. Even Giuliani is going on the air and saying, I've got insurance. I've got insurance against being thrown into the bus from Donald Trump. I got this. I got that. And now everybody's starting to turn on each other. It's wonderful. And this would not have happened if it weren't for some principled people inside the State Department and the National Security Council. First a whistleblower, then Vindman, then Fiona Hill, then Maria Yovanovitch, and all the others, Ambassador Bill Taylor, all those coming forward to testify to the facts of the case. Not to take one side or the other, but to testify what's actually been happening. And saying that, no, I'm not here to take sides. What I'm here to just give factual testimony. This is what I oversaw. This is what I heard. And some of those people did hear that call, and they were very concerned about this. And it's only because of that did Donald Trump not get away with it. And I think that this will lead to the house of cards beginning to collapse. Now, the one thing that is uncertain, of course, is whether or not the Trump card is going to go down with the rest of them. And that is unfortunately dependent on the entire Senate Republican or all the Senate Republicans to convict, or at least enough of them. And those people, some of them, as we can see from Devin Nunes, well, might be on it themselves. So, uh-oh. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.